A long time ago, in 1882, a baby was born, known to me and to you. Mother called him Franklin, father called him son, and he grew up destined for Washington.
Franklin D. Roosevelt, aka FDR, was born along the river in the town of Hyde Park. He was the only son of Sarah and James. Collecting stamps and birds were his favorite games. First he went to Groton, then to Harvard too. Had degrees in law and history by the time he was through. On March 17th in 1905, Franklin took Eleanor to be his bride. Had the same last name, but that don't mean nothing. They were far enough apart. They were fifth cousins.
Had to get started in politics. He ran for state senate from the Dutchess County sticks. A Democrat from these parts was rare to see, but FDR made it to Albany. Then he backed Wilson at the National Convention. It was a move that proved to make a valuable connection. Wilson soon was president, and with that came the gravy. He appointed FDR Assistant Secretary of the Navy. And then in 1920, just for kicks, FDR made his return to politics.
Number 2 upon the ticket with a man named Cox, but not enough people marked the Democratic box. Making it in politics is tough as you know, but not as tough as dealing with polio. Now Franklin had a homegirl and they called her E.R. He sent her off on trips both near and far. She was telling everyone that Franklin will be back, but he wouldn't be stopped by no polio attack. Everyone around him said, hey, that's great, and they elected him the governor of New York State. That seems pretty easy now, doesn't it? But it couldn't have happened without Al Smith. Things around the nation were going pretty fine. That wasn't until October of 1929. Hoover seemed insensitive, as if he didn't care. He said relief's around the corner, but the statement don't square. Franklin had the common touch, he knew the people feel, and he spoke at the convention, pledged him a new deal. People were beside themselves, they knew not what to do. That wasn't until November 3rd, 32. Elected Franklin president. For prohibition they were parched, but he didn't take the reins of power till early March. He wasted not a moment to bring us from our ways. He passed the state of legislation just 100 days. He was helping all the people by themselves and then in groups with the recipe of programs we call alphabet soup.
Triple A, Triple C, and the NORB, NRA, POB, and the FDIC, TVA, NRC, and the WBA. He did it all, he went too far, some Republicans said. Now you may think that I forgot in the alphabet boy, that's an I, but I did not. Social Security was ahead of its time, but I almost left it out because it's so hard to rhyme. Try it out and you'll see it's not an easy thing to do. If I was FDR, would have been in term 2. JW had warned when his term was at end, avoid alliances if you can. The American public took this to heart, but FDR knew different. He was way too smart. He had beats at Munich and loyal words for a while, but given them an itch, they sure took a mile. So England was clinging, but just by his toes. So Franklin took the rescue with the garden hose. Then, all of a sudden, the war across the sea was brought to our door in a day of infamy. It took the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and Marines. In the factories back home, the roses took to the machines. We grew gardens, bought war bonds, and collected up scrap. We fought long and hard, and we pushed them all back. Hitler, Hirohito, and Mussolini were the Axis leaders, but we had the big three. Roosevelt, Churchill, Stalin, too, were the Allied leaders who won in World War II. I forgot to mention father was the man's best friend, but in summer 45, the war came to an end. But Franklin didn't see it for, on April 12th he died, and let's not mention who he had at his side. So here has been the story of FDR's life, his vision of youth, and carried on by his wife. The two were finally rested in the grave at his home, and the garden where the roses from his name are still grown.